Sports have always been an important part of the student life at Collegiate since the very beginning. Their uniforms not only represented the school and its colors, but they were constantly evolving to fit the style of the era. Throughout the years, the girls' uniforms changed much more than the boys did when they arrived and started sports in the early 60s. Early women's sports were mainly for recreation rather than for the competition. As the competition became tougher, it became necessary to adjust the uniforms. Boys' uniforms have not changed as much as the girls'. Boys' sports have always had competition, therefore they always had ones that are athletically suitable. Boys' uniforms were more concerned with staying in style, while girls' top priority was to be conservative and classy.
In the 20s and 30s, the girls' uniforms were very conservative and not what you would expect a basketball uniform to look like today. The girls' uniforms were typically everyday clothes, very much like a school uniform. The girls would wear long black skirts, white button-ups with black scarves, and tall black socks with white shoes. The style for dress in the 20s and 30s for women was very simple. Women would wear long skirts with blouses as their everyday clothes, with not much variation between them. Because of this, the girls' uniforms had to reflect the style and fashions of the era.
By the 60s, girls' sports became much more competitive between the schools and uniforms took on a new importance. The basketball uniforms had numbers on them and it became much easier to distinguish the players from another. While the girls still wore long skirts, the uniforms were much more functional for athletic purposes than they were during the 20s. The clothing of the time period for women was still mildly conservative, but now styles differed more and had more diversity.
The boys came to collegiate in the mid-50s to 1960. However, boys' sports didn't get started until 63 or 64. The boys' basketball uniforms were much different than they are now. The boys wore tight jerseys with short gym shorts to match. Their socks were white and almost knee-high with green and gold stripes at the top with sneakers. The style of clothing for men in the 60s was either long or short-sleeve Oxfords with a skinny tie and blazer or sweater. Their dress was classy, especially when at school. High school level sports were new to them and style was important. Therefore, the uniforms were a key part of the team's success.
In 1983, the girls' basketball team finally switched to wearing shorts rather than skirts. It became clear to the coaches and athletic directors that shorts were more appropriate than skirts for such physical activity like basketball. On the other hand, the boys' uniforms didn't see many changes until the mid to late 90s, where we first saw the modern basketball shorts. Their shorts became much longer and jerseys became looser. Today, the basketball teams even have shoes that are uniform along with other gear to match.
Athletic uniforms have always been important to collegiate in its sports life. They have evolved with the time period ever since the school began in 1915. These uniforms showed not only school spirit, but they represented the style of the era.